When a fighter goes limp or taps out, the fight should be over. But what happens when the referee freezes? Today, we're looking at the worst late stoppages in MMA history, moments where hesitation nearly cost fighters their lives. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. Jalin Turner versus Bobby Green. Let's kick things off with one of the most talked about recent examples, Jalin Turner versus Bobby Green. Green was knocked down hard. Turner swarmed him, landing 19 unanswered punches. Green was clearly out of it, limp, eyes glazed, unable to defend himself. And what did referee Kerry Hatley do? He just stood there. Fans screamed at their screens, commentators were stunned, and the backlash was instant. Many called for Hatley's suspension. The MMA community had one question: how many punches does it take before you step in? Chapter 2. Valentina Shevchenko versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Valentina Shevchenko put on a masterclass of destruction in 2018 when she faced newcomer Priscilla Cachoeira. She landed over 230 strikes, completely outclassing her opponent from the opening bell. Cachoeira was bloodied, barely moving, and begging for help with her eyes. Yet, referee Mario Yamasaki did absolutely nothing. He later said he was letting her be a warrior. That comment sparked outrage across the MMA world. UFC President Dana White called it disgusting and vowed that Yamasaki would never ref in the UFC again, and he never did. Chapter 3. Paul Craig versus Jamahal Hill. FC 263 gave fans one of the most painful and shocking moments ever seen inside the cage. Paul Craig, known for his strong jiu-jitsu skills, pulled guard and trapped Jamahal Hill in a tight armbar. The hold was deep and in seconds, snap, Hill's arm broke. It started flopping around like a rubber toy. Everyone watching could tell something was wrong. The commentators were shouting, fans in the crowd gasped. Even Paul Craig stopped for a second, confused. He looked at the referee, Al Guinea, expecting him to stop the fight. But Guinea just stood there, doing nothing. With Hill's arm clearly broken and no help coming, Craig had no choice but to keep going. He started landing hammer fists to Hill's head, and finally, the referee stepped in, not because of the arm, but because he thought Hill was tapping out from the punches. After the fight, Dana White was furious. He called Al Guinea the Arizona Mazzagatti, comparing him to another referee known for late and dangerous calls. The UFC quickly pulled Guinea from refereeing the rest of the event. It was a scary reminder of how bad things can get when a ref fails to do their job. Chapter 4. Shane Carwin versus Frank Mir. Shane Carwin was one of the most powerful punchers in the heavyweight division. When he hit someone, they usually stayed down. So when he fought Frank Mir at UFC 111, it was expected to be a heavy-hitting war. Carwin landed a brutal uppercut combo that clearly knocked Mir out. His body collapsed to the canvas, lifeless and still. The fight should have been stopped right there, but referee Dan Miragliotta didn't step in. So Carwin, confused but following the rules, did what he had to. He kept punching. He landed 7 more clean shots on Mir, who was clearly unconscious and couldn't defend himself. Commentators like Joe Rogan were yelling, "He's out!" over and over, but still, nothing from the referee. After the fight, Carwin admitted he felt strange continuing. He knew Mir was already out, but the ref hadn't called it, so he had no choice. Fans and fighters alike were angry at the delayed stoppage. It was another clear example of how a referee's hesitation can turn a clean win into a dangerous situation. Chapter 5. Tanner Boser versus Rafael Pessoa. Herb Dean is usually known as one of the best referees in the UFC. He's been around for years and has handled many big fights. But even the best can make serious mistakes, and this fight was one of those moments. Tanner Boser landed a powerful punch that knocked Rafael Pessoa straight to the ground. Pessoa looked badly hurt and wasn't defending himself at all. It was clear to everyone watching that the fight should have been stopped right away. But Herb Dean didn't step in. Instead, Boser threw about 10 more punches to Pessoa's head while he just lay there helpless. The commentators couldn't believe what they were seeing. They were shocked and angry that the fight was allowed to continue for so long. This kind of delay is not just a mistake, it's dangerous. When a fighter can't protect themselves and the punches keep coming, it can cause serious injuries. Fights like this remind us that referees must be quick and alert, because one bad call can end a career or worse. Chapter 6. Elizu Zaleski dos Santos versus Benoit Saint-Denis. This one is hard to watch. St. Denis absorbed over 100 unanswered strikes. He was out on his feet, stumbling, barely able to lift his hands. Yet, referee Vyacheslav Kiselev refused to stop the fight. It was so bad that UFC officials removed him from duty during the same event. Dana White publicly blasted him, and the MMA community called it a career-ending failure. And let's be honest, it was. Chapter 7. Edgar Chairez vs Gianni Vasquez. This 2023 fight quickly turned into a nightmare. Chairez locked in a tight triangle choke, and within seconds, Vasquez went out cold. He was literally unconscious. Still, the ref didn't stop the fight. Chairez switched to an armbar, and only then did Vasquez wake up and start tapping. Everyone, from commentators to Dana White, was furious. White said, "It doesn't get worse than that." He was right. Chapter 8. Derek Lewis vs Travis Brown. Back to Mario Yamasaki again. Because of course, Derek Lewis, known for his insane knockout power, floored Travis Brown. Brown was out cold, but that didn't stop Lewis from landing 11 more punches. Yamasaki just stood there. Afterward, Yamasaki admitted he was distracted. That's not just a mistake, it's dangerous. Brown's head bounced off the canvas repeatedly. It's a miracle he wasn't more seriously injured. Chapter 9. Jacare Souza vs Chris Weidman. And here's another bad call from Dan Miragliotta. In this fight, Jacare Souza landed a powerful right hand that knocked Chris Weidman to the ground. It was clear to everyone watching, Weidman was dazed and didn't know what was happening. Souza could see it too. He even stopped for a second, looking at the referee, hoping the fight would be stopped. But Miragliotta didn't step in. Souza didn't want to hurt Weidman more, but since the ref wasn't stopping it, he had no choice but to throw more punches. You could see it on Souza's face. He felt bad doing it. Fans in the arena were shocked. Fighters online were angry. It was one of those rare moments where the guy winning didn't even want to keep fighting. This wasn't just a late stoppage, it was a complete failure to protect the fighters, especially from someone as respected as Dan Miragliotta. Chapter 10. Francisco Trinaldo vs Jai Herbert. Herbert was knocked down by a heavy punch and looked like he had no idea where he was. He signaled he was done. His body slumped, his hands down. Still, Herb Dean didn't stop it. Trinaldo hesitated, unsure if he should continue, then landed a few more punches. UFC analyst Dan Hardy, who's also Herbert's friend, confronted Dean live during the broadcast and backstage. This became one of the most controversial refereeing incidents in UFC history. Chapter 11. Cheikh Kongo vs Mustafa Al-Turk. Steve Mazzagatti is often mentioned in conversations about bad refs, and this fight is a perfect example. Cheikh Kongo dropped Mustafa Al-Turk and landed a relentless barrage of punches and elbows. Al-Turk was clearly done, barely defending himself, but Mazzagatti stood there for 30 full seconds before stopping the fight. Commentators joked that he was writing his grocery list, but fans weren't laughing. This wasn't just bad, it was irresponsible. Chapter 12. Khalid Murtazaliev vs CB Dollaway. This one gets worse the more you hear it. Murtazaliev beat down CB Dollaway with heavy ground and pound. Dollaway turtled up and stopped defending himself, but the fight kept going. Dollaway had to verbally tell Herb Dean multiple times that he was done. Dean finally waved it off after what felt like a lifetime. It was one of the few times a fighter had to literally say, "Stop this, I'm finished." So, in MMA, being tough is part of the game, but there's a limit. Referees are supposed to protect fighters, not put them in danger. A few seconds can change everything. These late stoppages weren't just errors, they could have seriously hurt or even ended lives. Which one do you think was the worst? The flopping broken arm, the 19 unanswered shots, or the ref who missed a fighter going completely out? Tell us in the comments. If this video shocked you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more wild MMA breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and stay safe in the cage.